anybody chooses to listen back, they can. On the last session when we recorded it, it doesn't look like anybody actually looked at it, but that's okay. We can facilitate it. We can make it happen. It's not extra work, but if somebody wanted to go back and look at that weren't here, then that's fine. Okay.
Do we know, was Miss Reed going to be in on this, or is she out for tonight?
Let me take a look. Does anybody else happen to know? And I'll look up in my notes.
We don't know. We just assumed she was always going to be in on everything.
So, truly, let's see. Mrs. Reed, reminder to Troop Guides. And I got a note from Mrs. Reed. Oh, she says, I am on the road with my family. I will try to call in. If it doesn't work, let me know. I will listen to the recorded session once I'm home. Thanks again for setting this up. So with that, so there seems to be the three of us, and I don't know if anybody else is planning to attend.
You know, I emailed Morgan earlier today and said, we've got a call at 7. Let's, you and I, talk about backpacking stove ideas beforehand. And I never heard back from him, but it was funny because he had emailed me and said, let's get together and do backpacking stove this weekend or talk about it, you know.
Yeah, I got a call from him on today, actually, and because I had reached out to him about putting together the skit for the overall Monty Python theme, since he's the Monty Python expert. And I made some notes and stuff, and then I tried calling him, and I didn't get a response, so maybe he's got something busy going on, because I knew previously he was busy because he went to Philmont.
Yeah, my phone call went to voicemail, and it's a voicemail that says, it kind of gives you another number, like, don't leave it on this one.
Oh. Well,
Morgan might have a couple numbers. He was doing Scoutmaster conferences this afternoon, so he might not be answering.
Okay, and Heidi, were you going to join the actual visual portion of this?
Yes. I'm helping, I think Christina and Morgan and I were working on some of the visuals for it. We chatted about that a little bit today.
No, I was meaning that on the GoToMeeting itself, did you have an opportunity to click on the link?
Oh. What link?
On the email, there was also a link, and there's a URL. It starts with https global.gotomeeting.com.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And this is it. That all that replied. I didn't get a response back from Christina. From, let's see, who else did we have on here?
Well, I know Christina is still back east.
Okay.
But she's not back until after SD3.
Okay. All right. So what do
and Heidi? Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
I guess where do we want to go from here? I mean, I've got the notes that Christine emailed us. From the last meeting and what we're supposed to do. But I guess, and since I haven't had a chance to really meet with Morgan, hey, Chris, we can see you guys.
Yeah.
I guess it's fair enough we go FaceTime. I'm back in my very back room away from my family. But
we really want to look at everybody?
I don't know. You can look at my nose. I don't know. It's pretty scary. We actually forced this on my global team to force everybody to actually interact.
It's to prevent the sleeping.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, or to understand in Asia that when they say yes, it's not necessarily yes. It's a yes.
No, actually, having come from the Jamboree, when they say yes, it means probably not on your life.
No, not at all. So why don't we just start going through the list and start figuring out what we needed to go through. I mean, there's some, pretty detailed notes, but does anybody want to help go through those and figure out what were our key tasks that we needed to get done?
Well, we had the three big ones that I brought from Miss Reed's house that we talked about last week were the campfire that we talked a little bit about. The first half of that is set in the syllabus. what we have to say,
Right.
right? The second half, there were still some people not sure what the skits were, and hopefully we'll get some guidance on that when we get to SD3, I guess,
Yep.
whether it be the caveman or whatever else. The other piece were our troop, our individual presentations,
Mm-hmm.
or group, individual group, I guess, the two of us, so Heidi and I doing backpacking and the aims and methods, camp stoves. What's the fourth one?
Aims
There's
methods.
Aims and methods, camp stoves, backpacking. There's one more. Anyway, those four, and then the big one was trying to hash out some sort of script for our troop presentation. Because ultimately that's the one thing, well, they want us to do all of these things at SD3 next weekend, but the big one is going to be that group presentation.
Right, the hardest one.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I think we came up with the idea, the Monty Python theme, and having the picking up of knights being the different scouting entities, and that's where, Rob, you were going to try to get a hold of Morgan, as you mentioned earlier,
Yep.
to kind of hash out some sort of rough sketch of a script, or at least even the Monty Python reference that we can use to go back and build it Friday night if we have to do that when we get up to Camp Edward.
You
So
want
I
to take
actually,
bets on when we're going to
yeah, see, that was the part. So what I did do is without Morgan, and I actually emailed him a couple of times, and then I tried to call him. So then what I did is I found some of the main parts of Monty Python, and this is where I really was going to lean on Morgan to figure out how we can utilize it, right? So I think we can insert the different parts of what, the rabbits and the bridge and all that in Monty Python. I think that's fine, but it's more of, okay, for each one of the areas that we were going to cover, what were going to be the exciting things that the knights were going to go on their quest and find and do. And so I think that was left a little bit in Wayne's court, or at least Wayne and my court, is coming up with the ideas of what we were going to talk about. Is that correct?
Yeah, the new and exciting ideas, right?
Yeah.
Right, and I've just started to what I did, it's really bizarre. You go to, I learned my lesson about, I know the national website is awful, but our local council website, I went there and tried to find like ideas for hikes and events, and boy,
Oh, good luck.
wow, it was awful. It was really awful. So I just started, I'm just starting to collect ideas and put them in a format or a deal that says, events, and I started off with the stuff that I'm more familiar with, like aviation, but I'm starting to collect them, and then I'm going to try and have an outline with a URL for every item, so that at least that would lend itself to a handout.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So
we need to back on the display.
yeah,
And more or less, we need one good idea for each of the 4 scouting, right? That's what we're shooting for.
Yeah.
but actually 3. We're not going to try to do a separate varsity.
That's right. That's correct. That is correct.
Boy, and I was really set in my place about varsity last night at NYLT, because apparently most of the staff were, quote, a varsity crew, so our team or whatever it's called. I'm terrible about that, and so I was like, oh, that kind of surprised me.
Well, it's let's be candid. It doesn't, the actual program with respect to sports and stuff was used, I think, by one organization, 23 years ago in Cincinnati, but that's been only somebody found that out because they were doing, anthropological research. But it's never used except for as a name.
Mm.
So, because if you look at it, the varsity component of it, it talks about games and leagues and and events like that, and no one tries to replicate the soccer league that exists, and so it just it is it's just a naming nomenclature, frankly.
Okay, so I've got the GoToMeeting. I've got the Google Doc up here, right? And we were just starting to put the ideas there. So if Wayne, if you could put into there and fill this out, like what are the new and exciting ideas for each one of those. What we could do is then, on Friday night, if we have to, just go and chunk it down to figure out, okay, what do we want
Right.
to do for
I'll
crowds?
try to generate a list of items with URLs that are fun and new and maybe different, and then let everybody. Then we'll try to pick them and see, how they fit, because it's whether people think that's a good Cub Scout event or a Boy Scout. I mean, some of them are, you could go anywhere. I mean, if you go to the Museum of Flight,
Yeah.
that can be all those groups.
Mm.
Well, and we
Is
certainly talked about it not even needing to be a new idea, just something that someone may not have thought about, or presenting something that, hey, you can do this even though you don't think you can, or you may not understand that you can. This is a possibility. This is something you can
We're
do.
not the direction I'm going is not towards. It's more events. It's more event. Like not a hike. It's not like
It's
late.
Jambo. It's Wash Jam. It's things like that.
Well, it's even not great big things that they would figure out by going to the website, but stuff that they never thought of. That's my goal, is to find stuff that they haven't thought of. Go to the Ballard Locks. Stuff like that. It's not stuff they should get at the council website. That if it's on the council website, I can assume that they'll figure it out.
No.
You
Yeah.
can always do that stuff.
Fair enough.
So
And there are very few things that the national events, your district jamboree or camporee, your national jamborees, your world events. Those are all fully disclosed and discussed at national on the website, the council. It's the local stuff that you can do on that Saturday or that Friday or whatever that usually makes people, if they have a whole bunch of stuff to do, it keeps the whole unit fresh, because we've never done that before.
mm,
I mean, Chris stumbled across one today. It's a bat tour. I know.
Kelsey Creek at dusk, they have a bat detector, and you're supposed to observe bats that live there.
Where's that at? I want to go do that.
Yeah.
It's in Bellevue.
No, but so
Bellevue.
well, what it does is, rather than hit that date and that time, we found that there is such an organization that does bat tours.
There you go.
wow.
And
It's called Northwest Bats.
so that's our goal, is to find stuff like that nobody ever heard of.
Mm.
Well, and it may work too when we come together. We could kind of throw out some ideas of what each of our individual troops have done too, because
That's right.
the SS Turner Joy, my son's done that a couple of years now with his troop over in Bremerton, where they spend the night on the destroyer and
Oh,
sleep in the old bunks from World War II, and it's a neat deal. But I didn't know it even existed until a couple of years ago that was a possibility of something to do.
yeah, you
Then
should
you
add
talk
that
to-
in.
I am.
Put that on. Yeah,
I am adding it right now.
Aaron can add it.
No, but I'm just taking it. I'll figure it out.
You talk to the kids from the peninsula, they all know about it because it's in their backyard. But us over here, not so much.
Right. Yeah, and one problem, of course, you always get stuff that's costs money, but then sometimes, it lends itself to people thinking of other things,
Sure.
I think if you only focus in on the money, I think then it's kind of distracting, because I know that there's things that people are concerned about, but most of the things that we do in Scouts aren't that expensive, unless you're talking about going to high adventure programs, or I don't know, some of the admission stuff. But even with most admission stuff, like like the Museum of Flight, if you go on the first Thursday of the month, it's free, right?
Right.
Yeah.
And it's
so-
hard. That's a touchy subject that is hard for, you don't want it to all be free, because then that's one thing, but you'd also don't, where do you draw the line of how much money does any one family have?
Aaron, our unit, our scout unit, we used to have a really good Christmas tree area, and we would collect $5,000 on our Christmas tree event. And,
Oh yeah.
And man, that paid for a lot of stuff.
And
So-
our troop does the same thing. They get a lot of money. The boys go to a lot of scout shares and the things they do. My son doesn't pay for much, and I appreciate that, but at the same time,
And we offered up. It's one of those things. Our job is to build our job is not even to build a list of items that it's more to teach them that they should think outside the box. And
absolutely.
And everybody has access to the internet, and there was a time when you had to give everybody every piece of information. Now you're just trying to make them think so they can go 4 clicks and find the answer.
Yep. And Heidi, you're still on. Are you on here?
Yes, I'm still on.
Okay. I just wanted to say before we get too far gone on anything, I need to touch base with you so we can kind of go over our presentation as well, so we're not trying to figure that out Friday night as well.
So-
Yeah, that's the back country, right? Okay.
Yeah, it's more or less backpacking.
So let's go back to the big picture stuff, and then we could each say we're going to get a hold of somebody. So this is kind of what I've jotted down, and again, this is on the Google Doc. I could honestly say that after last time we met, I know how many people clicked on it, which isn't a lot. So I'd hopefully we can get everybody to start working on the same page. With that, so I've got outlined here. These are the these are the new and exciting events. Wayne's going to populate it with bullet points of different things and with URLs. Morgan and Robert, we're the script, but a lot of our script is going to be pulling upon the Monty Python thing. I'm going to lean on him. I pulled out most of the key lines from the different things. It's a matter of which one of these do we want to apply, kind of, sort of. But we'll do things like for each part that we talk about, we're going to go and do the coconut thing. So we're all going to coconuts, and whether it's going to be somehow we blend in the rabbits and the bridge and all that. We'll work out the details of that. The next thing I think we need to think about is, so as part of the presentation, we have the static display, which we've talked about, but more is like costumes. And we haven't talked about if we're going to wear any funny stuff, and it's going to be kind of knightish or medieval theme or Monty Python-ish, or just funny hats.
Mrs. Reed said we have to make sure we get our costumes together.
Yeah. So,
Well, and here's the thing, though. If you were making reference, right, Robert, that we would have access to Excalibur sort of stuff from Scout Camp to a degree anyway, right?
Yep.
That maybe that's something that we could hash out with, figure out what we have available to us in that back room at Edward in the cafeteria before we get too entrenched. I mean, granted, we only got a couple of weeks after this weekend before we're there for real, but if we can get most of everything sorted out of that room and then leave this weekend with, okay, you need coconuts, you need this, we know we're going down the road on this skit, so we need the bunnies. That way everything will be more in line from a costume and standpoint. The roles will, I guess, be part of that whole building of the script piece as well.
Yep. I think let's do this. So I put on there as notes. Let's see. Check the prop and theme closet, and I go. Okay, so make a list then. Then we have the static display. And sorry about that. Ick.
I've got stuffed bunnies if we need them.
They weren't real at one time, were they? No, not kidding.
No.
Good, okay. All right.
We do have a stuffed boar. Don't we have a stuffed boar's head?
No, that's going good.
Oh, we used to.
Idea. Disappeared.
Okay, so as we think of things, I guess we can just jump on the Google Doc and put our ideas in, and we can just start accumulating that stuff when we meet on Friday, right? Or figuring out what we need to do. And then on the static display, didn't we agree that it was going to be? Maybe this is my recollection, and maybe I should look at Chris's notes. Didn't we say it was going to be a round table, or is that my imagination?
No, that was the idea, to play on the Nights of the Round Table idea in our skit. But I don't know how that was going to happen. I wasn't clear on that.
Okay.
But
Yeah, Morgan talked a little bit about it. So I don't think we'll have too much problem on coming up with a display. It's just first we need the concepts you want on it. So
I think
Morgan,
it was a round table was what we what we agreed on.
Yeah, I think the theme is easy enough. It's just getting some graphics on it and whatever text you want to go with the script, really.
Yeah.
And who was going to, besides Morgan, who was also helping Morgan out with that portion?
Christina
Morgan?
Kuhnbach
Yeah, Christina.
and Heidi. You.
And Heidi.
Christina, okay, fine. All right. And we were going to like do it and somehow place flags on it for each one of the parts. Is that correct?
Well, that's what we talked about last time, but I think to Heidi's point, we need to come up with the information and then figure out how to display it. So if we come up with what we want to show, whether that be websites or whatever information, the actual event itself or whatnot, then we can, the idea of a round table and flags is a good one, but maybe that doesn't lend itself if we have a different way to display the information that we want to get across.
Right.
And I think probably once we hash out the actual script and everything else and what we want to present, then the static display will come pretty quickly over the weekend, and then the group that's going to help put it together can get to work.
Okay.
Yeah, it'll be more obvious then.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it just feels like this kind of follows on everything else, so if this ends up being the kind of the end point, that's fine. So the three of us will be close enough that we can put something together quickly, so I'm less worried about that.
Okay. All right. So that's the main thing. So I guess we're just waiting for everybody else to do their part, and a lot of it's hinging on Morgan and I for the script and for Wayne to do the main ideas, and we'll, I think we should agree as troop guides that is there actual agenda already planned for Friday night? Do we know?
They probably have one, I'm sure.
Yeah, I'm sure Mr.
Fugelstead?
Mr. Fuelstead will have our agenda out at some point in time this week. I don't know what. If it's anything like the last one where we had Friday night, we had dinner, did a few things, and then we kind of had the evening to get our ducks in a row.
We might, we probably should just go through our own costumes or whatever, our own houses, and see what we have that would relate to these Monty Python things.
Sure.
Sure.
Anybody have a grenade?
I see. I have three boys. I'm sure we have a grenade somewhere.
And some swords and some coconuts, and I have a witch hat or two.
And I know there's quite a few of like sword type items in the closet, so I'm not too worried about that stuff.
Stuffed bunnies.
I don't have any stuffed bunnies. I know that didn't one of the other guides said that he actually collects like stuffed rabbits.
Like real stuffed rabbits?
I thought that's
No,
what
I
I
think
heard
somebody,
at Mrs.
Miss Reed said she had rabbits.
Oh.
I think she had this. She had the not stuffed, but plush toys. The kid, stuffed
Yeah.
animal rabbits.
Yeah, we have a few of those too. I'll look those up. What's the Bridge of Death? What do we need for that?
Well, we only need 3 of these, right? In the end.
Oh, so we might not.
The Bridge of Death had more. They had a lot of stuff in there that you could. I think we were talking about, but
that's the what is your quest one, right? You're answering questions, and if you don't answer the question right, you get tossed
into the abyss.
So the
Yeah.
idea was we're on a quest.
Right.
Idea.
Right, and I think that this particular URL lends itself for further review, because what it does is that I have to admit that I have a terrible memory for the whole Monty Python thing. I have to go back and review it, and in this URL that I've got on the Google Doc, here we go. It actually breaks it down rather nicely to. It helps you remember the 5 key points of what was going on during it. So, she's a witch. So, I don't know if that's going to necessarily work, but they've got like the Sir Lancelot theme. I'm Not Dead Yet, where, you've got the people being hauled off. I love the Knights of the Round Table, where they start approaching it and they start the song and dance number.
Stop it.
Then
Stop
there's the Frenchman.
Stop Sorry. That's the point of that. They're like, hey, stop singing. He starts killing everybody as he goes through.
Exactly, right? So there's a lot of really great ideas on this, and it's like, my favorite part is the migrating coconuts, because I think that's hilarious. But that's in the Google Doc. I mean, you can review that a few more times, because I've already reviewed it twice today, and I'm having to review it more to kind of like, what am I?
Congratulations! That's great.
Hey Rob.
Yes.
Robert, I got something churning in my head. Can I throw a couple of things at you, and you can type them in real quick? So
sure,
I have,
sure, absolutely.
And then we can. Let's see. The Knights of the Round Table one. Is that the one where he goes through and he starts killing everybody, trying to find the damsel in distress up at the top of the tower? If I remember correctly, is that right?
I'm guilty of sin. I can honestly, I have to always go back to this to remember exactly what part is which, because I'm so overwhelmed by because I'm not a big British humor guy, so I'm having to, and even though I love humor, I can't remember. So which one was it again?
Let's see, what's it read there? What's that read? Go back to that I can read the little blurb underneath it.
Sure.
Knights of the Round Table?
Musical parts.
Spamalot.
I'm not sure what you're getting at. I mean, if you click on this URL here, and I'll just
No, I was just trying to read the blurb underneath. It says Knights of the Round Table. It gives you the little synopsis underneath the YouTube link. I was trying to read that piece. See if it told me anything about. I remember them singing, but it's not the piece that I'm thinking of then.
No, there is. I mean, they have several scenes where, like, they're at the top of the tower, like she's the witch, and they accuse this woman of being a witch. They've got the tale of Sir Lancelot, which I have to watch that again to remember.
That's the one.
The tale of Sir Lancelot. This one.
The tale of Sir Lancelot. That's the one That's the one where he goes through and he kills everybody on his way up to.
Oh, that.
You get the damsel in distress sending the thing out, and he goes in, he kills everybody in the families. He's going up to the top, and he realizes it's a guy. And it's like, really? Why did I come here? And he apologizes the whole way down about how he killed everyone in the wedding party that was there for the wedding. My thought was playing on that of people basically doing the same thing over and over again and basically killing their troop by just doing the same thing over and over and over again. So it's like, okay, we go on this trip every year, all the time, no matter what, and it's killing your unit versus obviously killing people. It's a drag on the unit. As a play on the Sir Lancelot, somebody sends a distress signal, our troops in trouble, and they go through, and it's like, oh, you go to this thing every year, yeah, you go to this thing every
I'll
year.
tell you, Aaron, I think the greater danger in a unit is doing boring things over and over, not doing
Play on
great things.
that exactly, but play on that how we can. But I'm thinking in terms of you could use it. It may land. I'm just spitballing thoughts that are rolling in my head at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
I think we could also play off the Trojan rabbit the same way.
Exactly.
Everybody charging, go for the rabbit. The rabbit again this year. Death-defying rabbit gets boring.
Well, yeah, but then everyone's supposed to be in the rabbit, but nobody is. That's the Trojan rabbit. Then we all get inside, then we all hop out. No one's inside the Trojan rabbit. It's just a rabbit that's sent there. Anyway, Heidi touched on the other one that I was thinking of, the Trojan rabbit, of kind of going down that same road of doing something that doesn't benefit the unit, whatever you want to key in on.
Yeah, I like I said, I know that when you do really great things, the kids come back every year and say, can we do that again? So they're never upset. But if you do boring things and do it oftentimes, I mean, that's just like a killer. I mean, that just...
E-E-N-E.
Oh, thank you.
The school.
Well, and to a degree, Wayne, I agree with that with the Cubs. The Boy Scouts, I mean, I know our troop does a lot of really fun things, and they do it over and over again, and you get the older scouts that have been on it 2 or 3 times, they're like, you know what, that is fun, but I've had my fill of this fun event for 3 years in a row. But
yeah,
boring also is
killer.
Death.
The worst thing is repetition boring. Yeah.
Yep.
But even good things can get stale. I would agree with you.
Yeah.
But I know that in my unit they always ask me, can we go shooting again?
I don't know that one ever gets old.
So.
Oh, you know what? And then even with I don't know, again, how this plays into pulling all the things out. You've got the bridge of death. What's the bridge of bad ideas, right? Where everybody comes up with the same boring ideas, and then you're forced off the bridge.
That's right.
You're killed, right?
That's right. Visit a library, or yeah, right.
Right. It sounds really great and wonderful. Or taking guys to a craft store. Ugh. So one of our moms thought it was the greatest idea, and 10 minutes the boys they were destroying the store.
Oh, hey,
not good.
Many years ago, I took my unit to the TRACON, Air Traffic Control Center, down in Auburn, and it's where they controlled all the airplanes. And it was the most boring thing in the world. The kids had about 2 minutes later, they were all, we're out of here. Let's go to McDonald's. Let's do something. So even though it sounded really cool, it was boring.
See, we did a Thursday night. This is with Tiger Cubs when my son was my oldest, and we went to the Flight Museum, and they instantly were, it's 7 o'clock at night. They're bored. They're already tired, so they're getting antsy. And I don't know if you know this, is a scouter that's been around forever, and I don't think he's around with us anymore, but his name was Ludi. Very famous, and I think the beach of Parsons was named after him or something. And
what's his name?
Ludi was his last name.
Yeah, Ludi Christophers.
Yeah, and so he did our tour, and so it was kind of like, at first the guys were like, but then he told us these really cool stories of when he was a scout and what things that he did, and the fact that they did some type of hang gliding thing off of, First Hill before there was, or I know, something along those lines. His stories captivated the Cubs, and it was great, and it was wonderful. But, that was one of those ones where it could have gone really, really wrong, because apparently most of it had been there with their schools before. So it was kind of anticlimactic, but it was the stories that made it for the Cubs.
Too bad he's passed away.
Yeah, I think Ludi's died.
Uh,
All right. That's a,
okay, so can we challenge everybody and hold each other accountable to fill out the sheet and start putting ideas in? And I think it should be to the point to where we almost penalize somebody, because I know we're all have, we're past bandwidth in life. We don't have a lot of time, but I think we just have to discipline ourselves this next week to get stuff in here, and then while it's still fresh, I will bring mobile internet with me to Camp Edward, and we should maybe encourage one of the guides to be scribe for it, so we make sure we capture all of our ideas so we don't lose them during the process.
my recollection is we have pretty good internet coverage up there, AT&T. So
Yeah, I have that because I use my MiFi up there. Was the my Verizon that people were hopping on. It works really well. And there's limited at the camp itself, but they have a limited package. So if they've been up there too much, then there's no internet because they used the data up.
Oh yeah, I know the one that's internal is very limited. I agree.
Yeah.
The Wi-Fi package. We'll have to, use our own cell phones.
Yeah.
What about printing? What's the capacity for printing up there?
I don't know what we'll ask Mr. Perry what the budget is for printing. I know they've got a copy machine and a printer up there. And I don't even know if it stays up there on the off season, because yeah, it does, because it's Perrin and Pals up there still. So are we allowed to print up there, or is that something that we need to give to the council to have them print?
Well, I think we need to be able to print on the spot, so maybe we just bring up a printer.
I mean, I don't think I mean, I've got Dave, who's the ranger up there. He's supposed to get back to me by tomorrow about something else, and I'll ask him what the capacity of using the office.
Okay.
I mean, he's been rather generous to me, so because I've commissioned up there, then maybe he'll just let us use it.
Yeah, he's a good guy.
He is a good guy. He's really busy though. He's getting ready to have his first baby, so he's a little distracted.
Well, he thinks he's distracted now. Just wait.
Right. Right. And so, not to digress too much off the subject, but part of the reason why I'm trying to get up there is I want to get up there on Thursday night, and then work half day remote from Edward, because I can do that. And then I want to spend the rest of the time cleaning the Plex, because I've heard some not so great stories about the condition of the Plex right now for us troop guides. So I want to get in there and maybe do a little extra cleaning while I'm up there, because it's supposed to be not so pleasant.
Wow.
Yeah.
Chris is excited.
Yeah. Apparently there was I heard there was what they call a code brown there, which is
What?
there's half of the Plex was habitable. I tried to be clever and say it, and I messed it up. So it's livable, but then the other half, apparently there was some explosion in the other half with the code brown, I guess it's called. And I don't trust, as well as I know the staff, as long as I don't trust them to clean it as well. So I want to go up there and make sure that it's really clean. If not, come up with a plan B. Because I don't like the thought of going up there.
Japanese jamboree.
Yeah. I mean, my 16-year-old son says, "Dad, it's great." And I'm like, "How great is it?" He goes, "Well, at least smells a little bit." And I'm like,
Oh,
I don't.
let me look at it.
I don't go for that. So I'm going to go up there a little bit early, and if it's not to a certain standard, I'm going to ask Dave if we can camp somewhere else, because I don't think they have Perrin and Pal going on that weekend. So I think that even the other facilities, like the other newer cabins, are available to us this weekend, if I understand correctly. Because I don't think they have any other activities going on that weekend.
More power to you, Robert.
I'm emboldened to do so. What?
Much appreciated.
Yep. So there's the notes, and everybody knows where the Google Doc is.
You're gonna email that? Can you email the link or the spot out to us? one more
I
time?
will re-email it out. What I had done previously is I shared it out, and so everybody should have
Yeah.
received a shared invitation with a link on it. Sorry, but with that, just right now, and I'll also send out a link earlier. But there's on the GoToMeeting, I've actually placed the link there as well. But I will send out an email with that on there. So, yep. So this is the I don't know if you can see that, but I do have a link there, and I will email it out to everybody. So that's the group presentation, and everybody has their role, and then we just have the individual ones, which I think Chris and I are needing to go over ours, and then Aaron, you and Heidi would like to talk about yours. Is that correct?
Well, I don't know that we need to necessarily talk about it here now. I just wanted
Okay.
to let her know that we should reach out and try to converse between now and Friday in terms of, I think we had a general plan in mind, but I think execution of that is what we want to shore up a little bit.
Okay. Well, I agree. I agree with Chris. For you and I like the. Are you smarter than a? I don't know. Are you smarter than a national? What, are you
Well, you can
smarter
say
than a national
we're smarter than a
president?
scout leader.
No, you're smarter than a
You
national
scout
president.
leader, we cover all three.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we could do something with that.
Sure. Okay.
Didn't they have a show, Are You Tougher Than a Boy Scout or Tougher Than a
Yes,
Scout?
they did.
Yeah.
They did.
Okay.
I don't know if it's gotten. It was like 6 episodes, and it was 3 guys competing against Boy Scouts that were Eagle Scouts, and most of the time the Eagle Scouts, they set it up so they won, and it was like, they have the reality shows are so all over, and they're cheaper to produce than hiring talent, and so they get a lot of. You could probably get. If you build a show and have 6, you can get 6 installments on, and the question is, do you get renewed?
The other one is, are you smarter than a 5th grader, right?
Yeah.
So they ask questions, and you have to.
Actually, it wasn't smarter than, it was, are you tougher than a Boy Scout?
The other one, one I'm talking about.
I know, but I'm just telling you, the
the
Boy Scout one was, are you tougher
than a boy? Exactly.
Yeah, but we will convert it, no one will matter.
Yeah. Okay. So we'll just come up with I think Chris, you and I can just work on the format of what we want to do there on this weekend, right? Because we're supposed to have some time to work on that stuff.
Yeah.
And we're not actually expected to present that this weekend, are we? Next weekend?
I think ultimately you don't have to have it doesn't need to be nailed down completely, but I think they want to basically have you do a dry run of it this weekend, of all of these. So we're going to do a dry run of the campfire, we'll do a dry run of the opening skit, we'll do a dry run of our individual group, our troop presentations, or patrol presentations, I guess. So you may not need to have it completely memorized, but I think their expectation is, from my understanding from Miss Reed and Miss Mockford, is that you basically have the next 2 weeks after this weekend to get it right from a delivery standpoint, not still be trying to figure out what am I doing.
Okay.
So we've got this weekend, which is day 3, right?
ST3.
ST3.
Yep.
And then
we go live.
We go to Paris for a World Scout thing. We get back and we've got 1 day home, and then we go to Woodbatch for the live run. So we've got to be done before we leave on September 9th. We've got to be really ready for Woodbatch.
Yeah, and the hope is after this weekend is that we have everything, the ideas are done, the script is done, and now we're only working on the delivery of all of those things. It's not so much what am I doing, it's how am I doing it.
Yeah.
So it goes from the concept to actual reality, I guess.
Mhm.
So that's my understanding anyway.
You're
From
right. I think you're absolutely right.
I think you're right, Aaron.
It makes
So.
sense too, doesn't it?
Well, yeah. It's basically 2 weeks from, well, 3 weeks from right now.
Yeah.
Is it really just 3 weeks from now?
It's the
Yeah.
it's like the 10th or the whatever the 8th or the 9th that we're supposed to be up there, right? Wednesday. I think it's Wednesday the 9th we're supposed to be there. Is it not?
Let's take a look.
The
No, it's
No, we're not supposed to
22nd.
be up there until the
22nd.
22nd. Boy, you're scaring the heck out of me.
The 9th is when Wayne and I leave, and we get back the 20th, and then we have to go to Woodbadge on the 22nd.
right. And I think the participants arrive. They arrive on the Thursday or the Friday.
They arrive on the Thursday.
Okay.
They
so
arrive Thursday night. Friday morning is the start of course.
Okay.
Some will come Thursday night. Some will come Friday morning.
Okay. So we're there. We're there Tuesday the 22nd.
Yeah.
And we, to get rocking and rolling, and then our participants show up, and start a course is the Good Gilwell Assembly on the 25th, right? And then we go 25, 26, 27, then we're done.
Yeah.
And then we come back on the
6th.
the
Well,
5th. Yeah.
We come up on
Yeah,
the 6th.
no, I had my dates wrong. I was thinking it was, yeah. Never mind. I apologize for that. My dates were upside down.
Yeah.
For some reason I had it in my head. It was that it was 2 weekends in September, not the end of September and the first weekend of October, which is what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. And there's actually a weekend between our two Woodbadge weekends. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
We get 2 weeks off before coming back.
Right.
Well, 2 weeks off from Woodbadge, but it's not really.
Not really a whole 2 weeks. But,
Oh,
Well, it's not a whole 2 weeks, and you're not really off of anything. You're just not on course, right?
Yeah. Well, you're working with your participants on their tickets and
their presentation.
yeah.
And I'm trying
Yep.
to remember because it was 2009 when I went through Woodbadge. When our patrols get together on the off time, because we're supposed to arrange a patrol meeting, are the guides expected to go to those meetings, or do we stand back? I forgot.
I don't believe that we are expected to be there.
no.
I don't. My troop guide did not come to our get-togethers.
Okay.
He sent emails out making sure we were on track, but the patrol meetings were done with the patrols minus the patrol, us as troop guides.
Okay.
And I was back in 2012, so that's how I remember it, but because I don't believe Mr. Horn is my troop guide, and I don't believe Bob came to the couple of get-togethers that we had prior to going back on course. He emailed us a lot, but he didn't actually sit in or call in or whatnot. We were on our own to get everything put together.
Yeah, I think that's what I remember too.
Yeah.
Well, I'm
All right.
nervous, like everybody. I don't know if everybody else is nervous. I'm a little bit nervous. I'm just thinking of for me, it's the format of how we're going to play the game. That's the only part I've got kind of. I'm kind of lingering, like, well, what do we want it to look like, and how do we want it to display?
Yeah. It's
Yep.
still very big.
I think so.
I think we better set up another meeting.
I think so. Now, is that for everybody, or do you think? I guess the question needs to be asked of everybody: is are they prepared individually themselves?
Well, we don't have everybody online right now, so that's
Yeah,
a problem.
that is a bit of a problem. Because I just now looked up the whole, the whole Are You Smarter Than a Fifth Grader and the format, so it's not quite. So, I think we can wrestle with that where we have the questions and then we have the, it's a multiple choice thing. And that's something that we can we can mock up, with
We can do that.
yeah,
And you actually could make that. Are you smarter than a Cub Scout? Are you smarter than a tenderfoot? Are you smarter than a young venture? I mean, you could really go there if you wanted to. Yeah.
yeah. I was just thinking of like the overall display and stuff, and I think with that we could just use the big, flip charts and then cover up the answers, and then we got the next question or something. I don't know. We could make it very rudimentary and nothing too complex.
Yeah.
Because I just know that this weekend's going to sneak up on us, and I want to have something more than just kind of winging it. So I guess Christine, is there something that you and Chris, is there something that you and I do we want to talk and meet about at one time before this weekend, or at least a phone call or email, or what do you think?
Why don't we work on some questions, and then
Okay.
we can, and in the meantime, I'll look at, an online thing of Are You Smarter Than a Fifth Grader?
Mm-hmm.
And let's ruminate about that, and then let's see, when do we go this weekend? Friday?
Yeah.
Friday.
So any time between now and then we could talk.
Okay. Let me. In fact,
the calendar.
yeah, I need to put it on the calendar just now because of it. If I don't, I am not gonna. It won't happen.
So, I just have a lot of stuff to do where I plug it in, so I can just plug that in somewhere.
Yep. Why don't we? Does Wednesday night? Does Tuesday evening work for you?
Yeah, Tuesday evening works well.
Okay, cool. So we'll just I'll send you a little invite, but it won't necessarily be GoToMeeting. We can just make a phone call. Is that all right?
That's fine.
Okay.
You'll take it to the Diamond Club.
Okay. Okay. All right. Is there anything else we need to cover besides sending out notes? And what I'll do is I'll capture this recording. I'll send it out. I don't know how much people are actually going to watch it, and then I'll also with that I will send the URL for the Google Doc and remind people what they need to do. And what I'll do is that it won't. I'm not going to do it just because to be annoying. But what I'll do is I'll check the URL tomorrow. Let's say tomorrow evening about 7 o'clock, and I'll see if any changes have been made, and I can actually see who makes the changes. And if nobody's made changes, let's just have a fun call it out as it is, saying, hey, it's getting closer, and every day we kind of remind people. It's
Do it.
because I think we've been too laissez-faire for this. Yeah, it's time to hit the panic button.
It's push come to shove. There's no more getting away from it.
No.
And it's pretty good timing for us because our kids just left, and now we can focus this week on this.
Yep. Okay.
Among a zillion other things.
Great. And Chris, really quickly, just so I have it for my what is the best phone number to reach you at?
206-399-9100.
Great. And then on the invite, I'll actually have my cell in there. Okay.
Okay. That's my mobile.
Okay. Aaron and Heidi, do you need the stage for anything?
I'll send Heidi an email and we'll set up a time to go, or I'll give you an idea of what I'm thinking and then we can hash from there.
Okay.
I'm thinking it's a pretty straightforward presentation on showing gear, talking about gear, and bringing a few things maybe that are, don't fit in, and call it good.
Yeah, it's good pack, bad pack.
Yeah.
I remember that very vividly from my course, and that was a lot of fun. And So you have basically Bad Pack, Cub Scout, and Good Pack teacher using the EDGE method to show them how to how they should pack their backpack.
Do you know how that, Aaron, does that sequence before our stove presentation or after?
You know, I don't know the sequence, Wayne. I don't.
The reason I asked that is that one of the things we're doing the same thing with the same theme, which is bad backpacking stove person, good backpacking stove person. And to a certain extent, you got to be careful that we don't steal your thunder with respect to a big backpack full of the wrong kind of stove.
Well,
so it's better if we know if you go first.
Yeah, well, I think if you're just hitting on the stove aspect of it, I think even if we both do a similar thing, we'll be fine. Because basically, I'm gonna have an
old frame pack with
with the cast iron skillet hanging off the back of it, and candy bars, and everything's gonna be cotton and in flip-flops, everything that you're not supposed to take and do as a backpack.
Right. All of the three food groups: Skittles, potato chips. Yeah.
Exactly. I mean, it's going to be way over it'll be way over the top, and I remember that very vividly from that piece of my being on course. It was a lot of fun.
Okay, well, remember when you're working on it, don't use the stove component because that's part of ours.
I won't slap on a Coleman double gas burner to go on a 50-mile hike.
We've got a 3-burner for ours. So.
Perfect.
So I'm looking at the email from Aaron that you sent out, and if you look at chronologically the pages, it's aims and methods, then backpacking and stoves, outdoor code, and planning for backpacking are the order according to, at least on the pages. So
I would guess where you're going is that's the chronological order too.
That would be my guess.
What I need to do is when we do backpacking, we need to be careful we don't steal your idea. So that's good. We'll do that.
Yeah.
We won't put our stove in a backpack.
There you go. As long as you're doing good, this is meant for this, that's meant for that, I think you guys will be fine. Because we got everything else that goes into a backpack that we can have that's wild and crazy.
Which day is that presentation supposed to happen on? Because I'm looking here in the binder, and it's not.
I want to say it's like, isn't it day one? Isn't that one of the?
I think it is day one. Yep.
Yeah.
So day one is Gilwell Assembly course overview, listening to learn. Is that what it is?
No.
That's one of our That's one of our patrol presentations.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. Blue and Gold, troop meeting, Patrol Leaders Council meeting, values, mission, and vision, troop presentation.
That's one of them. That's it.
Is that it?
Well, actually, do they do one each day? Did we do that? And it'd be nice if Miss Reed was here to answer that. It might be we do one a day.
That could be.
I'd have to go.
Yeah, from my wood badge, I think we did all of the presentations, the small troop presentations, all at one time.
All at one time?
Yeah, it was like they just kind of back to back. Everybody kind of came up on stage and did their thing, and then the next one came up.
Okay.
So, as I recall, I don't remember what day, but I think it was all at once.
Yeah, because I think it's supposed. Yeah, I think it is that day one. Because if you read the one page that gives the outline of the presentation, it's supposed to be like an hour-long sort of deal, but
we're only from 4 to 5, and so that just means everybody's got about 15 minutes.
15 minutes, exactly. I think we do them all back to back to back in that window.
Yeah.
Is it 4 to 5 or is it 3 to 4? No. See, what am I looking at?
I'm looking at day 1 and it says 4 to 5 values, mission, and vision, troop presentation.
My sheet is different than that. Huh.
Page
Well, I'm sure we'll
5.
get we can ask this weekend. But I do believe we're all doing it in one day at one time. So
Okay. Since I'm going to be sending out the other part, can somebody send an email to Mrs. Reed for point of clarification just to make sure?
Yeah,
I'd appreciate that just because I'd like to have that straight in my head.
I can do that.
Cool. Alrighty. Well, I think we're done. So the agenda. So I'm going to send out a link to the video from this. So if people want to watch the recording, that's great. I'll also send the link to the Google Doc and firmly put it that everybody needs to contribute, and it's time to hit the pedal to the metal. Chris, you are going to send the point of clarification to Mrs. Reed. Oh, sorry, Cortana's trying to talk to me. Sorry.
Yep, I'm going to send her that.
Yep. And then we're each responsible for our individual presentations, right? For the 4 points.
Yep.
And with the 4 points, what are those? What is that called again? So I've got the wording right.
That is.
Oh, it's called small group presentations. Ha, it's right there in the email.
Well, yeah, because 10:30 on day 1 is listening to learn. Then day 2 is leveraging diversity through inclusiveness. And then, wait, on day 2 at 11 o'clock is stages of team development. What's that? Stages of team development. Oh, that must be like forming, conforming, blah, 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 storming.
Forming, storming, norming, and performing.
Yeah.
I just got done with NYLT hearing it about 30 times yesterday.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, yeah. It looks to me like we've got, yeah, the day 1 is the one about remember we did that anyway in our meeting. So day 1 was listening to learn, and then the next time day 2 was diversity through inclusiveness, individual presentations. And those are the only 2 for that type.
And as far as, I apologize.
Go ahead.
So as far as who's supposed to be our troop guides, and this, I just want to double check to make sure I did not miss anybody, right? So I've got Aaron, I've got Heidi, I've got Robert, I've got Andrew, I've got Chris, I've got Christina, she's on the East Coast. Let's see, they really don't count, which is Mrs. Mockford or Joe Mockford, and then there's Mrs. Reed.
Yeah, Morgan.
Kevin.
I was going to say Morgan.
You know what? Does it look like I may have missed him off the list, and that's why he hasn't shown up?
Isn't
Wow.
that funny? Because I said to him, well, we have a meeting tonight at 7, and I never thought to check to see.
Oh, it is. He is there. Okay, so he is there. I apologize. He is there. So this is who I have: Aaron, Heidi, Robert, Andrew, Chris Perry, Christina. There's Joe. There's Julie, Mrs. Reed, Kevin, Morgan, Tom, and Wayne. Is there anybody that we forgot?
I don't think so.
Okay, and in reality,
it's Jennifer. Wasn't there a Jennifer? No.
Jennifer.
Was there a lady named Jennifer?
There was a Julie, but she's not in our group of people to worry about.
Okay.
And then you have like Fiona and, because I think Julie was one of the other scribes.
Wasn't Julie?
I honestly don't recall.
There should be 8 of us, right?
Well, let's take a look here. I got Christina, Heidi, Joe, but Joe's not one of us really. There is Mrs. Reed. There's Mr.
Not one of
Fugelsted.
us either.
So I got Aaron, Andrew, Chris. So there's 3. Christina 4. Heidi 5. Kevin 6. Morgan
Kevin's
7.
not one of
Wins-
us.
Kevin is not.
Mr. Giles he's not one of us.
No,
Okay.
He's the senior patrol leader.
Yeah.
Oh, Jenny Reynolds is a scribe. That's who I was thinking.
Yeah. Is there? Because I just in this 7, I don't know of anybody else that we have on there.
Okay.
I
No, I don't either.
Is there? Somebody asked a question. Christopher Hoffman.
mm,
Ooh.
no, I'm still here. I'm just trying to remember who it was.
All right. So
We're looking at the gallery, the peanut gallery, and we don't see that you've missed anybody. There was a blank, and that was Heidi that was added.
Yeah, because Jim felt he dropped.
that's true. I think we got everybody.
Yeah.
And I kind of took that list from Aaron's the email that you sent from Mrs. Reed's house. So if I missed anything, I'm going to blame you, Aaron, and it's your fault. No, I'm not kidding.
That's fine.
That's great.
I can handle it.
Can you? Okay. All right. Cool. All right.
Okay.
Well, let's call this a wrap, and we'll get busy. And Chris, we'll talk on Tuesday night.
Okay.
All right.
All right. Everybody, take care.
Thanks, everybody.
Bye bye.
Thank you.
Good night.
Great job. Okay. Bye. Good night.
Ooh, we all have to do.